We are activating your unique self-discovery one show at a time. The Orchard of Wisdom Self-Discovery podcast are at your fingertips, just waiting to inspire and invite you in discovering just how awesome you really are and how to navigate through life in joy, enrichment, personal abundance, in mind, body, spirit, heart, and soul. All the people we bring you are here to serve you on your journey of life. Do enjoy our next show. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Sarah's View of Life, right here on selfdiscoverymedia.com and theorchardofwisdom.org. You don't own me. My body, my psyche, my spirit, my heart, and my soul belongs to me. Nobody else. If I wish to share it, that is up to me. If I wish to invite you in, that is up to me. But no one, nowhere, has the right to tell me what to do with my body, or to abuse my body, or use my body against my will in any way. Roe versus Wade. It is quite shameful that we have gone backwards. Now, I'm not an advocate of aborting for aborting's sake. And I think people really do need to take contraception a great deal more seriously. The other thing is picking your sexual partners. It's become, and it has been for a long time, it doesn't matter who you screw, you don't even need to know their name. And the next thing you know, you're pregnant, just get an abortion. That's irresponsible. And one needs to take some responsibility for your sexual acts, not only against pregnancy, but against disease. Also against the way other people look at you. Now, nothing wrong with sex against two consenting or with two consenting people. But when people feel pressurized into having sex for the sake of an image or to look good, or everybody else is doing it, why aren't you? Then no, that is pressure. And that kind of pressure makes people make the wrong decisions. We're in a world right now that we can't even take care of the children we have. Our educational system, our welfare system, our health system, our system of just helping families look after their own children is down the toilet right now. We have 70% in America of people incarcerated are foster children. What does that tell you? No, not that there's something wrong with them. There's something very, very wrong with the system that they should end up there. We have so much violence from young people who feel they don't belong and nobody cares and they don't care. And they go on a killing rampage. We have many people uneducated because they're skipping school or falling through the cracks, especially if they're going from home to home. We have a mom trying to balance 3 or 4 jobs just to put food on the table, a roof over their head, and be there for her kids. We have dads who think they're just another notch on the belt, and I'm not going to take care of the consequences is okay. And it's not. So there are many reasons why someone gets an abortion, and it's not something they do lightly. They don't just go, I'm just going to go and get an abortion. Well, I suppose they do have those people, and those the people that I'm talking about that maybe should take some more responsibility about getting pregnant in the first place. And that goes for both partners, not just the woman. But there are many people who find themselves pregnant. Could be to do with rape, incest, far too much of that, or just the sheer pressure of, I've got to have sex because it's the cool thing to do, and I don't want to be a nerd. Or a guy saying, I won't date you unless you do. Just that whole expectation thing. Don't be so hung up, man. It's just sex. Well, it isn't just sex. Sex is beautiful. Being sensual with your life, with your body, with your heart, spirit, and soul is exuberant, and it brings out a sexuality within you that means you are connected more than just the physical level. I would rather people take the time to know their own body, their own mind, their own beingness before they merge with a partner and make love. Now, I'm not a prude. I'm a 70s chick, great deal of free loving going on in those days. But I know that however much you were in the moment, it's how you felt later. And what it ended up making me feel like was empty. Was that connection real? Just a good time for a moment and then nothing else? Do you belong? Do you feel there is a bigger connection other than just the fornication? It leaves you, can leave you feeling rather empty. And I know there's some people who just purely want to have sexual partners and no relationships because they can't be bothered with a relationship. It's too difficult. Yes, a relationship is difficult. But you first got to have a relationship with yourself and solidify that. Who, why, what you are as a beautiful being, so you can bring the essence of you to the table to someone who will appreciate that. So, does somebody else have the right to tell me what to do with my body? The answer is a resounding no. And especially some old, bald, righteous men that probably watch porn telling us what to do and what not to do. If you are going to pass a law that women can't have an abortion, then the person who had sex with that woman has to step up, not only participate in the raising of that child, whether they live there or not, have to give up 30% of their income to support that child, and have to go to a sex educational program about wearing a condom, and that women are not just there for your pleasure and no accountability, that if you're going to get a woman pregnant, you are accountable too. Why should she be forced to go through the pregnancy, go through the birth, and raise a child that you've abandoned because for you it was just a bit of fun? If we had consequences for the men, and the price was high for the men. Now let's forget any woman going through an abortion, for whatever reason, there is an emotional turmoil. No woman just wants to get rid of a kid for the sake of it. They know they can't look after that child, or they know that the partner will not be there for that child, or there's other risks involved, and it's not something they take lightly. So why should a man get cleared off and not take any consequences? If you want to pass a law that women can't have an abortion, then you need to pass a law that for every man who gets a woman pregnant, and with DNA it's very easy to prove, then X amount of his income, X amount of his time raising that child, X amount of his other support, he's got to be held accountable. There is no scot-free. No scot-free. Why are you putting all this burden on the woman? Why? Now, I understand the pro-life argument. And yes, there needs to be a cutoff date for abortions. But if somebody has been raped or had incest, or there's a health risk, or they're so poor that there's absolutely no way they can look after themselves, never mind a child, then how dare you bring a child into the world that's just going to be neglected, abused, or tossed out with the garbage? Because this is what's happening to the children right now. There's not enough support, healthy, loving, educational, supportive support for these children that nobody wants. We already have too many of them out there. So now you're going to create more. Not only that, you're villainizing the woman. You're making her a criminal. And you've got all these little goody two-shoes, so eager to watch who comes and goes in their lives. They're ready to call the hotline. I think she had sex. Mind your own business. If you can't be supportive, butt out. How dare you? How dare you spy on another, tell on another, instead of being supportive, understanding, and caring? We don't need your interfering little busybodiness. It is very detrimental to anyone and to everyone that you go about spouting your stuff. Women, we have to come together. Fighting this reversal of Roe versus Wade is not going to be easy, but we have to come together. And I think if women came together right now, husbands, wives, everything came together and said, okay, no sex. No sex. No sex at all for any man. Unless he puts a ring on it, unless he's willing to sign a contract that he'll be there for any consequences, unless he commits himself in some form or other that is solidified and that it is consensual between the two to have sex. But if every woman said no sex, unless that contract is there, no one night stands, no, I don't know your name quickies, every woman handed a man over a contract and said no sex until you sign this lawful document, witnessed that should I get pregnant, because you don't wear a condom, you are going to pay the price. And the dollar amount is this, the time amount is that, the support amount is this. Let's see how quick they overturn Roe versus Wade. You see, it's very, very easy just to take the women and toss them back into the dark ages and point fingers of how sinful they are. They did not get pregnant alone. Women are absolutely bloody amazing, but impregnating themselves they cannot do. It takes two. So, I dare someone out there to write a document that can pass in Congress, can pass any lawyer's loop. And a woman has a man sign it, has to be witnessed, photographed, and stored somewhere so they can't tear it up. And you want sex with me? Whatever the consequence is that. Now, I know there's women who do entrapment, get pregnant so the man will marry her or support her or whatever, which is silly, totally silly. Not only that, it's abusive use of your power as a parent, and your children will suffer, but there will always be those. And there will be the men who don't give a damn about a piece of paper, who will take a woman no matter what because he thinks it's his right. But for the everyday people out there dating, who maybe have been free with their bodies, who don't mind having multiple sexual partners, you do your responsibility, your birth control. He's got to do his responsibility, and there's the contract. Should an accident happen and a baby is coming and I can't get an abortion, you commit to. Let's see how many people feel free with their sex after that. Are you all going to be feeling rather sexually frustrated for a little while with all these no's? Ha! There's a thing called masturbation. Pleasure yourselves instead of chasing everyone else. Folks, there's something radical that has to be done. The Handmaid's Tale is a scary thought. And when we look at these people, if we can call them that, and these laws that they pass, for their own agenda. And the thing is, I'm sorry, I don't believe that all these men are clear, righteous men. Those that protest so much against a woman is generally hiding something. They're either watching porn somewhere, maybe they're gay and they hate women for it. There's always something. And please do not hide behind the rhetoric of religion, because God doesn't punish or persecute. That is a man's thing, a human's thing. We love to tear each other apart. We love to condemn and throw the stones. We love to burn people at the stake. The cruelest way to make a human suffer, humans have found. That's not God's doing. God is love. He's about acceptance. He's about good vibrations and everyone coming together to look out for each other, not tear each other apart, not divide, not hate, not cast stones, not cast judgment. What right have we? But yet we seem to have taken the right. I've been through my own battles in life of fighting the misogynistic sexual persecution. If I don't do this, I don't get the job, or I don't keep the job. People misconstruing that central love of life, of being exuberant and enjoying life, as an invitation for sex, because they don't know the difference. I've been through all of that. Again, I'm a 70s chick. Parents, please educate your boys. The notch in the belt, and it's going to make you a man to have as many women as you want and treat them badly, is wrong, archaic, and never ever was right. Teach your sons to treat women with respect, with value, with consideration, with caringness. And they will learn that a woman who is treated right gives so much light of herself that it illuminates everything. When a young man learns that and learns that it's not all about the women doing for the man, that it's equality, and the man respect of a woman brings out the loving respect for the man, for the young man, the old man, whatever the man is, then we are actually teaching our young ones to break this cycle of entitlement of men who think they can tell us what to do with our bodies, or that our bodies are there to serve them. We've just seen Epstein's girlfriend, however rich and popular she was, going to jail for actually bringing him underage women for the sexual prowess of him and his mates. If anybody believes he committed suicide, ha ha ha. They wanted to shut him up so that he wouldn't bring out some names. And we know some of those names that are on that list. Why do we let them get away with it? Why do we not hold them accountable? Why? Because the boys' club closes ranks. And then they go and do something like ban abortion to put women in their place, so they won't rise up, so they won't fight back. Oh, you've miscalculated us. You see, we've had a taste of freedom. We've stepped up and shown that we are more than capable of running companies, running our lives, running countries, not just homes. And we've shown you that we've got more common sense, tenacity, resilience, patience, and logics, and we know how to use it. So if you think that you're going to put us down, if you think you're going to control us, if you think we're just going to curl up and go, okay, whatever you want to do, then you're wrong. Because we are going to rise up. We are going to stand up. We are going to fight back. And from my point of view right now, the document he has to sign before he has sex with you. hand me over your income, all of your time, forevermore for this child that could come into the world if you don't wear a condom or it breaks, that you will be responsible. We may see some differences. Yes, they'll go underground. And from the underground, we need to open up those sewages and release all the garbage. But folks, this isn't just a woman's fight. This is a fight for balance. This is a fight that we've taken so many steps forward and now they want to push us back to the dark ages. It's not happening. You see, one of the things that they're seeing is that the topple of women stepping up into ruling positions, judging positions, powerful positions, respectful positions. It's shedding a light on some inadequacies of the men. They've been playing the boys' club for so long with lies, deceit, backhands, favors here and there, that they just simply don't know anymore what's up and what's down. And we've stepped into those roles while they've been busy playing and patting each other on the back. There are a lot of men out there that revere women, that know that certain women in certain positions are the biggest asset the company can ever have, the biggest asset they could ever have as a spouse or a partner or a friend. They know the value of a woman and they treat the woman accordingly. But there's still that demographic. And they're scared because they know we're taking over. They're scared because they know they're going to lose their power. They're scared because we know that they're just little boys in those big over-puffed bodies looking to be loved in all the wrong places. I have thought twice about whether to do a show on this or whether just to stay non-comment. I have two daughters, they're in their 30s, and they've had their own problems in fighting those sexual prowess out there. But you know, whether you want to hear it or not, it's here. Yes, I've been raped, and I know what that's like. The powerlessness, the feeling, the manipulation, the judgment, the self-judgment. It stays with you. It doesn't matter how much you rationalize it, logicalize it, or anything else-ize it, it stays with you. And there are different forms of rape. Telling about a person what they can do with their body, whether to have a child or not to have a child, to have sex or not to have a sex. It can feel like rape when somebody is manipulating against your choice. So, Roe versus Wade, taking the abortion rights away from a woman is another form of rape. And we've got to stop it. Whether it's getting the guy to sign a commitment document, passing it by law, all you need is one state to do it. And believe me, it will catch on. But we've got to fight back. Because the people who are affected here are the poor people, discriminated people of color. There are people who have nobody to stand up for them and speak out for them. The rich will still go and get an abortion. They can afford to pay the private doctor. And believe me, their price will go up and so will their services. Do not think that abortions for the elite are not going to happen, that this law has anything to do with them. They're above that. This is going to hit the everyday person struggling out there who suddenly finds themselves with an unwanted pregnancy. Even with a boyfriend, this is another fact. The amount of women who get killed while pregnant because the men don't want the baby. I can't remember the statistics anymore, but it really shocked me when I first learned that. And no woman should have to marry a man who A, doesn't want her or want her baby, their baby, or who's going to be abusive. Because that's just another cycle, which will be either of death, violence, just a no-win situation. So the education we need to put out there, both with girls and boys, is that girls, you may play with dolls, but that doesn't mean that you can't fly to the moon, that you can't be the rocket scientist, that you can't run a country, that you can't be all that you wish to be. And boys, you don't have to be the be all and the end all. So many young men have decided to stay home and raise the children because their wife is the better breadwinner or has the more important job. And they do it willingly because they know that that job of raising a child is a very serious one and one that really is an honor to do. So let us go with the wind of change, which is the whole dynamics of a family is different, raised by two mothers or two fathers, non-binary, raised sometimes by an ex-wife, a new wife, and become a whole family dynamic. Whatever works, whatever shares the love, whatever shares the responsibility, the accountability, if it is serving everyone, then let us not get in the way. Because we have seen the rigidity of it should be this way and it should be that way, and it can only be this way or that way, or it's wrong and evil. And we have seen how it's broken society down. And society is broken down in so many ways. We've seen exponentially in the last 10, 15, 20 years, money by politicians, by admirals, by colonels, by majors, by police, by medical. I mean, money can buy anyone. Someone in power that somebody else wants to use as a puppet, wave some dollars in front of them, and now they've got them. And then somebody who was maybe of good standing all of a sudden is backing something that you know they never would do in the old days. But now they've been enticed by the money and they're going to go with anything. So what are we going to do about it, folks? How are we going to overturn this? How are we going to bring back women's equality? How are we going to stand up for the women? And as I said, if all the women just said to boyfriends, to casual partners, no sex. No sex. Now, the religious people want you to do that for God. But if we do it for until there is accountability, or until you sign that document, no sex. Let's hold the men just as accountable as the women, because it takes two to make a baby. Two. And this shouldn't just be the woman's burden. Where is the man in this? And if he gets her pregnant because he didn't use a condom, why isn't he paying a fine or paying a price? We've got to do something, folks, to balance the scales. I would love to hear back from you. Yes, I know I'm going to get some Christian people, the rights of a child. And I agree, if you don't have to abort for whatever reason, then don't. A child is a beautiful gift in the world. But if you are poor, health issues, were raped, then you have every right to not bring that child in the world if you cannot, for some reason, look after it. because there are too many children in the world already that are being ignored and neglected. We don't need any more. So keep your righteousness. God did not command this. This is purely a man's interpretation and a way to control women. 100%. And we're not going to be controlled, are we, women? We are driving our own vehicle. We decide what gear we go into and which direction we go into. And no matter which blockades you keep putting up, we will find a way around it because we're going to the top of that mountain. And we're going to change things below. And there's nothing you can do to stop us, because when we come together, oh boy, you may have bitten off too much, thinking you can suppress us and control us. You're in for a surprise, because this is the era of woman. And women, when they're pushed into a corner, will come out fighting and win. And we are going to fight. So you can keep any hate rhetoric. Thank you, folks. I will only delete those comments, but I would love to have the comments of what you think we can do. As I said, my suggestion is you want to have sex. Here's the contract. Should I get pregnant? You are responsible. Absolutely no sex to anyone. It's another way of doing it. What ideas do you have? How can we change this? How can we change this? Other than putting money into poor, stricken places and empowering them to have better accommodation, better jobs, and more community support, that village to help raise the children, and educating our boys into looking at women differently and respecting women, not just as hoes, as pleasure for them, but having respect for women in all areas that we are represented: mental, physical, spiritual, body, soul, heart, in every aspect. Teaching our young men and teaching our women to step into their own embodiment of who they are, that you do not be defined by a man's opinion or a man's pressure. You decide your own essence by investing in you, by becoming you, by nurturing you and discovering your own beautiful instrument of service, and then stepping into that. Nobody else can tell you what to do or put pressure upon you. Stand tall in your own life, in your own choices, in your own making, and don't fall for this, oh, you're so beautiful, I really desire you, and then they're gone. Don't fall for that. You know you're beautiful. You know you're desirable. It takes a great deal more than that for anybody else to get their way with you. So hopefully a lighter topic next week, but we really do have to fight back, women. This is the time to educate the man. Educate, not beat them up, educate of exactly what a woman does in the world and what a woman is going to continue to do in the world, and how they have absolutely no part in choosing a path for us, or blockading a path, or trying to turn the clock back, because that's not what's happening. And remember, these men came from mothers. Let's get the mothers up in arms, as well as the women up in arms and the grandmothers. Let's get us all together in one beautiful chorus and hit them where it hurts. No sex and their wallet. That will hurt their ego, but maybe it will make things change. So until next time, folks, here's to the changes that we're facing. Bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. Find all of our shows on selfdiscoverymedia.com under podcasts or selfdiscoverymedia/shows. And for all our current shows, go to What's New. We are supported by you, the audience. You'll see a nice big shiny blue button for one-time donations or follow us on Patreon and you will be able to support us there. We enjoy bringing you such wisdom. And the next show will be up in just a moment.